Hi guys. This is the Binti Love Podcast, 5 Points 5 Star Review, and I am your host, Binti Love. Okay, so today we are reviewing the fabulous Chris Rock. Yes. Okay, yeah. So today we're going to review Chris Rock. But before we do, I just wanted to let you know, the Fair Use Act of 1976 I'm using that for criticism, news reporting, commentary, teaching, scholarship, or research. Okay. Yeah. So, this is the famous Chris Rock. He had a show here. And it says, Chris Rock, selective outrage. Yeah, selective outrage. The show was here in the Maryland area on the 3rd of March, and then it streamed live, allegedly, on Netflix. I was there in person. I was there in the theater, and I saw the show, and this is my commentary on it. First of all, this is the 5.5 star review. Again, I'm your host, Binti Love. So yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely loved that he was in rare form, loved him. So 4 out of 5 stars was for this, for the Selective Outrage tour by Chris Rock. Yeah, okay, so point number 1, he called out Will Smith. Now, I love me some Will Smith, and also love me some Chris Rock. As you can see, Chris Rock here, he has that head twisted to the side like I'm not playing. Talking about selective outrage, guys. And I love this poster of him. Good hair, good eyebrows, good eye contact. I love how the placement of how he has the Chris Rock selective outrage there, and the nice colors and a nice background. So that looked very, very nice out there. Okay. So point number 1, he called out Will Smith on stage for selective outrage. And Chris Rock said, Jada Smith, with her entanglement, hurt Will more than what Will did to him with that smack on stage. So that was not cool. That was kind of basically his words, is what is that. Yeah. So, but not, I'm quoting him. So, it's not, I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that's what he said. Basically, that was the point what he said, allegedly that. And so that's what I'm saying he said, from my point of view, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's like, his smack from Chris Rock, from on stage to Chris Rock to himself, when Will smacked him, it didn't hurt him as much as what Jada Smith did to Will, that made him go and do some selective outrage. I was like, oh my goodness, no, he did not say that. I really love that he just moved on from it, and he's like, basically kind of saying, allegedly, Will must be hurt too. To jump on stage and smack someone, Will must have been hurt himself. And I think that's the point that he was basically saying. Again, this is the Binti Love Podcast 5.5 star review. So point number 1, I just wanted to report that, and I thought that was very funny. No one wants to get smacked, but I liked how he just moved on from that. Okay, point number 2, let me comment and report that he was funny, and he was in rare form, much energy, and I loved it. Yes, he was in very much rare form, and I really loved it. And, I thought that was great. Now, point number 3, I was not a happy camper about them locking everyone's phone in a magnetic bag. So when you went in there, they were like, okay, glad to see you. Let me see your, you have to have the phone barcode on your phone, to show that you basically bought the ticket. And then I was like, okay. I thought they were just saying, okay, you got to put your phone in your bag at this time. They're like, nope, we need to put this in this suede magnetic case and lock it so you can't get anything out, can't make a phone call for emergency during the show, nothing. And so, that's my criticism. I didn't like that part of it. This time I didn't have to wear a mask, but then I had to lock my phone in a little sweaty bag and put it in my purse. So that would be my point number 3. That's my criticism for here out of 5 points. Yeah. So you couldn't. They didn't want you to take your phone out allegedly and take pictures. So I'm like, okay, but you don't have to do that. And not only put it in a bag, but it's a magnetic bag. It was annoying, and the cases looked kind of germy. And we had to return them to security to unlock them at the end of the show. So that was my criticism. I did not like that. I didn't feel that. I thought it was too much. I know apparently this was supposed to come on. It was a live taping, that you had to buy tickets to, but apparently it was supposed to come on Netflix the next day, and they didn't want anyone to have their phone. I don't know. I just didn't like the fact that those bags, they look kind of like, they don't look very sanitized and safe. And so, and they really, when you left, they threw them you had to throw them in this big basket. So I'm like, so they're going to use those again, so I'm like, are they going to wash them? Like, are they just going to be like, oh, there was a show later that night. So those same phone bags, I'm just thinking about it now. There was a show later that night. So I went to a 7 o'clock show Eastern time here in Maryland area. So those same bags, and this is how the germs are after COVID. This is what my disapproval are, my criticism. I love him. I love everything about it. Not those germy bags, guys. So I'm like, are they going to use those same bags for the next show that night? I don't know. You had to throw them in the bags. So you had to throw the bags in these big buckets. So I don't think that's a wise step. So that's my criticism, is that don't use those phone bags, guys, because after the COVID, we should know that we can't just use the same thing like that. There's a lot of germs, But, the MVP moment was point number 4. Was just his saying that after the smack from Will, he went to work to the next day. So love that. He said, I went to the work to the next day after that. So that did not affect Chris at all. So I love that. And I thought it was a great MVP moment with him saying that I went right to work. I'm not even dealing with this. He didn't stop me, pretty much is what I'm gathering from that. So I love that about about Chris talking about how you rebound from Will's smack. Now, is this a research or teachable moment, guys? It's a research moment. Now, according to research, how much germs are really on a phone, guys? Well, according to research, there's over 25,127 bacteria per square inch. So that makes cell phones a major dirty object. It's one of the major dirty objects that you can have. So that's this reusable cell phone bags. I don't think that's a cool idea. So that's another reason why I didn't like that, because if they're going to use those again for the next show, they're just transferring germs from germs to germs, because everyone's phone, saliva, everything's everything's on somebody's phone. So that's my criticism, and that's a research moment. That's how many germs, 25,127 bacteria per square inch. So that's how dirty that your phones are. And then you put them in, and now, at least I came to the first show. But, if they use those same bags for the next show, the same bags, then that's really transferring germs, and we don't want to do that these days. So that's a research moment for you guys. Be very clean about your phones. Make sure you wipe them down daily, just from yourself, because you can give your phone germs. Okay, but other than that, I loved it. And point number 5, before I get into that, let me just say, again, you're watching the Binti Love Podcast, 5 Points 5-Star review, and there's a picture of me there. That was me there. I'm like, okay, yes. So that was a picture of me there. And also, again, this is the Binti Love Podcast, 5 Points 5-Star Review. I am your host, Binti Love, and you can catch me on YouTube and TikTok. And also, make sure to subscribe, guys. Make sure to subscribe, guys. And you can definitely, again, you can see me more about me and my podcast at www.bintilov.com. And subscribe. Tell 10 people to subscribe too, guys. Yes. But yes, I love this podcast. It was great, this podcast. I love this going to see Chris Rock Selective Outrage tour. It was great. And so definitely love that, But again, this is the 5 Points 5-Star review. And point number 5 was basically that the most loving moment was when he talked about his mother and her experiences. I can't give everything away with the show. I just gave you a little this and that. And so, and gave you a good idea that this is he's in rare form. Loved it. But yeah, point number 5, the most loving moment is when he talked about his mother and her experience. So you got to see the show on Netflix to know more about that. My criticism is just basically about the bags. I don't think you should use that. Bags is too germy and things of that sort. So whoever idea of that, I think that we need to nip that in the bud and not let that be a normal practice, especially, getting over COVID. We don't want to share anything. I don't want to put my phone or something after someone else just used that, or whatever is going on with that. Just the whole idea of it is not a good idea, and so I just want to point out my criticism. But the most loving moment was Chris. Chris was in rare form. Everything was great about him. Everything on him on stage was great. I loved it. I laughed so much. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know I could laugh this much. That's how much I loved the show. I loved when he talked to his mother. That was point number 5. And definitely a must see. And all right, guys. And again, this is the Binti Love Podcast, 5 Points 5-Star Review. I'm your host, Binti Love. And make sure to subscribe. Tell 10 people to subscribe to. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.